Hello everyone, welcome to your lunar forecast for the new moon in Scorpio occurring November 18th, 2017. I am Kiana Mayfield from oraclechamber.com, formerly known as Libra Lunar Center, and I hope you all have recognized the rebranding of the channel and realized that this is now the new version of Libra Lunar Center. Oraclechamber.com, which is where you may now find me available for anyone who wants to book a reading with me or for anyone who is interested in the services we provide. Oraclechamber.com is the new website and the name that you may use to search for our content. So this is a new moon in Scorpio, everyone. And the reason why this particular new moon is so different than most of the Scorpionic energy we've experienced for some time now is because the last time we had a lunar forecast in Scorpio, it was the full moon, which had occurred in May earlier this year. And it was in square to the nodal axis, if you remember. And I titled that video, The End of Suffering. And the reason for that is because that full moon in Scorpio had been the last to seal what has been a several decade-long process for us to work through, for us to purge through, for us to reconstruct, right? Because the Scorpio archetype has been under massive transformation. And even though Scorpio in and of itself is a transformative sign, the sign of transformation, of alchemy, of regenerating into a completely new being, a completely new essence, right? Even though this is the season for that as well. Happy birthday to all the Scorpios out there, by the way. And even though Scorpio is known for death, is known for this regeneration, is known for metamorphosis and rebirth, and the phoenix rising from the ashes. Yes, this is part of the traditional personality prescription that we lend over to Scorpio, right? This is how we define it. But we are learning to redefine it. And the reason for this is because over several decades now of our history, we have had no major transits occurring in Scorpio except malefic planets. And by malefic planets, I don't mean negative or bad or, ones promoting misfortune as traditional astrologers would have you believe, right? There is nothing good or bad about any of the planets. It's how we utilize them. But what malefic planets in and of themselves mean is destructive, right? And by destructive, I mean wiping away what has been, deconstructing the past, and preparing the soil, the space for what is to come, which is built from the ground up, from what the malefic planets have destroyed. The benefic planets are bringing into fruition, into culmination, into a new constructive period. And this is what we are all going through right now as Jupiter, the planet of fortune, right? The biggest benefic planet besides the sun that we have yet to encounter in our solar system. And Jupiter in Scorpio is about getting to our own underbelly, is about tapping into our root power. It's about tapping into our kundalini. It's about going into the journey of the abyss, right? And the abyss is always the unknown. It's always the darkness of our own desires, the space that our unfulfilled desires hope to fill in, right? It is our point of power, our desires. And Jupiter in Scorpio is requiring all of us to dive very deeply into what passion means to us, what desire means to us, what craving and hunger mean to us, what our personal cravings and hungers are, especially as the North Node during this time is in Leo. Leo being the ruler of individuality, of knowing oneself, of developing your own persona, right? Of developing your unique tastes, of what sets you apart from the rest, from the collective, with the South Node in Aquarius, and using that individual spark, that flame, that heart center within you, right? Sparking, lighting up the heart chakra. How do we utilize all of the power that pours from this part of us and devote it to something that fulfills our desires, that fulfills our cravings, that fulfills our hunger? How do we satisfy our own hunger is the main theme for the next year. With this particular new moon in Scorpio, even though it's not making any particular aspects to the rest of the planets, it is in trine to Chiron retrograde in Pisces, and also in a quincunx over to Uranus retrograde in Aries. In and of itself, it's not going through any major, transformational transits. What it means is this is a pure new moon, right? This is an unfiltered new moon. And with it in trine to Chiron, this is the opportunity to completely come to a point of healing within ourselves. Whatever has been blocking us from tapping into our power. Because Chiron and Pisces is always, with Chiron itself being the wounded healer, right? Our wound right now rests in our psyche, in our own minds, in our own connection to the collective unconscious. It may not even be us consciously holding ourselves back, but there's something within us, within each and every one of us, especially as at the beginning of this month we had Saturn squaring over to Chiron for the final time, which has been an ongoing theme throughout all of 2017. There's been this constant push and pull between needing to grow, needing to develop, needing to mature into your new journey, into your new chapter, into the next phase of your life, right? And having the courage and the ovaries or balls to make the moves forward towards that journey, right? And also the push against that, right? The resistance against that growth by tainting your mind with beliefs, with fantasies, with delusions, perhaps, of annihilation. We all fear that we can't make things happen for ourselves, that we can't grow beyond the space and the circumstances that we feel we have been a part of all of our lives. We feel that we can't outgrow our own karmic cycles. We feel that we are stuck in this time loop over and over and over again. Right, this is the major fear of this month. That's the only thing holding us back, right? Our own fear about transcending our limitations, right? Transcending our past, transcending our ties to our pain, to our suffering. And in and of itself, this is a month of growth, right? This is a month of preparing for the changes that are to come when Saturn moves into Capricorn and makes everything crystal clear and crystal concrete, right? Rock solid. And of course, Capricorn being the ruler of Saturn, it will be in its domicile position, which will be the night force rising to its maximum degree. And it will feel like we're in a dark night of the soul period. This doesn't necessarily mean we're getting ready for bad times ahead. It means that we're entering a zone where for the next few years, as we're getting ready for massive stellium to occur in Capricorn, we have to change reality from the ground up. And it starts, of course, with the individual before it comes to the collective, right? Before we can change the world, we must change ourselves. And with that, we must change our relationship to ourselves. And with that, we change our relationship to the world and to those around us, to our desires, to our cravings for the outer world, right? The outer world outside of our own inner world. We change all relationships, and we change the depth and the gravity of our power here, our influence here. This new moon is all pointing towards the need to reconcile with our true selves, with our shadow, of course, with our shadow. But the only thing hidden in the shadow, really, is not everything negative about yourself that you don't like, that you hide and repress. The shadow in and of itself is the parts of yourself that you refuse to look at, for good or for ill. But it is the mirror reflection of your greatest fear. Because your greatest fear is the unknown, right? Every man's greatest fear is the unknown, the darkness. And Scorpio rules the parts of ourself that are dark, not evil or negative, just unknown, unexplored, and untapped power. And we're all being forced to tap into our power. Like me, for instance, I haven't been active for almost coming on 2 months now, right? And I know you've all missed me, and I've missed all of you guys as well. I've missed my channel. I've missed running it. I've missed, shedding my skin every other day to come talk to you guys and share my message. But there's been this almost like a blockage, right? A blockage keeping me from being fully at ease with shedding that skin, right? And coming to you guys raw, and coming to you guys from a personal humanistic point of view, right? Where I'm coming to you in my unfiltered state, right? And I'm sure you've all noticed this, where there's a rigidity to not even just my messages, but the world in general, right? There's this rigid sense of not being truly authentic, right? Not being truly in your power, not being truly in yourself. And worldwide, this is causing a lot of I'm feeling global anxiety, a global rush of feeling pressured and pushed to change, right? Lots of pressure and push to change, to transform, to become more than we are, right? There's this rush of intensity coming on all of us, where we're all being forced to look at ourselves, to look at our shadows, and to confront everything that has held us back from truly being able to express what's on the other side. And Jupiter in Scorpio, and this new moon in Scorpio, setting the intention for the new cycle of Scorpio, right? This new seated intention of being okay with our shadow, of the integration with our light, the parts of ourselves we know and the parts of ourselves we don't, right? But that we crave to know. And what glues them together is desire. What glues them together is the courage to step into our power, right? To step into the darkness with our light. And all of this is preparing us for the journey ahead. Because this is Jupiter, right? Jupiter expands whatever it touches, of course, but it also looks for the light. It looks for the holy grail. It searches for the treasure. It searches for the purpose, the mission, right? Its mission is to find the gold. And Saturn in Sagittarius, which is the ruler of Jupiter, Saturn in Sagittarius has been urging us all to crystallize this new path, right? To crystallize what journey, what mission, what purpose we want to fulfill. And with, of course, Saturn coming to the galactic center by the end of this month, we will come to a point of realization with our purpose in life, right? Which has already been an ongoing theme since April. Since April earlier this year, we had Saturn come to the galactic center in station retrograde. And so even though we thought, okay, this is what I'm meant to do, or perhaps we had revelations of what our purpose was, but we knew that there were certain barriers of entry and prerequisites that we needed to fulfill in order to cross this bridge, right? To cross this bridge into the next chapter, into the next world. We went back and looked over all of the hidden crevices of our agreements to ourselves with Jupiter and Libra, right? We surveyed all of the beliefs that kept us in perhaps unfulfilling situations, in perhaps a sense of unfair advantage or disadvantage, where we felt like we weren't getting equal measure from our lives, right? Where we felt the imbalance, where we felt the disharmony, where we felt disharmonious within ourselves and within our lives. We have been purging since the beginning of this year, right? Since spring of this year. This has been an ongoing theme. And now we come to Jupiter and Scorpio, and Saturn now direct, coming again to the galactic center. There is this need to come to a point of okayness with our desire, with our power, and to have the courage to step fully into it and to live our lives without fear, to step into a new life without fear. What does life look like without fear? This is the big question this new moon is asking of us and requiring us all to make the decision for what that picture looks like for each and every one of us individually. A life without fear is a life lived fully in desire, right? Because the only thing keeping us from pursuing our desire is fear. The fear of stepping into ourselves, because desire is ourselves, right? And what's also interesting about this new moon too is that when you look at the landscape of things, we have Saturn trining over to Uranus, which is opening the gateway to this future that we all can see, right? With Mercury preparing to as well come to a conjunction with Saturn and preparing to enter this trine that has been a theme since November 11th. This is basically the portal being opened. And we have Mars, a co-ruling planet of Scorpio, squaring over to another co-ruling planet of Scorpio, Pluto, right? We have Mars squaring Pluto at the same time as this new moon. And Mars is in Libra, which is in its detriment, and Pluto's in Capricorn, which it's trying to get to the source of its ambition, the root of our goals in life, right? Where we want to go, what we want to build, as well as deconstructing everything that is a facade of what we actually want to build, right? We're realizing that there's this massive momentum that all of our lives, in some form or fashion, in whatever area of life that you've been trying to figure out, right? And look to where Saturn is transiting for that in your chart. Whatever we've been trying to figure out for some time now, we are finally getting some type of hint. And the hint lies in our desires. The hint lies in wherever you fear treading the most, right? Whatever path of life, whatever journey, whatever goal, whatever destination that you feel is the most scariest path you could take, you have to make the leap. You have to make the leap to go down it. The new moon in Scorpio is requiring us all to figure out how and what life looks like lived without fear. And Venus during this new moon has just come off a conjunction to Jupiter and is trining over to Neptune. And there's just so much in and of itself. That combination is very, very hungry because it's in Scorpio, but as well as fortunate and almost like a sacred energy where everything feels like it's opening up in the right way. Everything feels like, as long as you have the courage, as long as you have the willpower, as long as you have the drive, as long as you have the intensity and the determination to see it through, to see your commitments through with it in Scorpio, right? You can achieve whatever your heart desires, right? You can go where you've always wanted to go. And Mars square Pluto, of course, is this almost like a die-hard determination to see our desires through. Almost like a reckless, ruthless force of nature that we're all stepping into. And Mars in Libra in and of itself is, this point where we think too much about the decisions we're making. We're constantly on the fence. We're constantly, decisionless because we can't figure out what our goals are, because we can't separate ourselves from the other. We can't see ourselves without the veil that others put around us, right? It's almost like we constantly are feeling the need to do things in the proper way, to do things in a way that is fair to other people, even though it may not necessarily be something you enjoy doing, right? Or even want to do. It's not something that's coming from your impulses, right? Mars in Libra constantly thinks about what it needs to do, what it wants to do, and backtracks from it, which can be a beneficial energy right now, as we have so much energy in Scorpio to the point where we can go off the edge with our desires. But with Mercury in Sagittarius and Venus in Scorpio and Mars in Libra, this is 3 planets in detriment, of course, but and as well this new moon, with the moon being in fall in Scorpio, there is this massive amount of uncomfortability in the air right now, where we're on fire for certain things, right? We're on the edge for certain things. It doesn't necessarily mean you're passionate about something right now, but it means that you're feeling some desire to change in some way, to completely just almost eradicate what has been to make way for what will be, or what you see, or what you want to be, right? It's a ruthless energy. It's a ruthless energy to destroy and begin anew. We're all feeling it in some way, right? But the point of all of this is to campaign for ourselves, to campaign for our power, to campaign for the equality of power. And the equality of power comes down to knowing what makes you who you are, knowing what sets you on fire, and allowing that to be your guiding light, right? allowing that to come to the forefront, allowing that to be the marking point for your decisions for the rest of your life, from here on out. To make the intention to live a life without fear. This is what we're all experiencing right now. And it's coming to this crucial point of black and white, right? Because this is Scorpio. This is contrast. This is extremity. This is the yes or the no. And what's a no in your life and what's a yes in your life? This new moon in Scorpio will be the marking point for what you choose to rise into, what you choose to give birth to rebirth into, who you choose to become now. And it all has to do with rising into your highest self with this new moon in quincunx to Uranus retrograde in Aries. Uranus has been in Aries for several years now, since 2011, right? 2011, Uranus has been in Aries, and everyone in some way has been feeling this urge to transform our identities, to become people we never thought we could be, to become who we thought we never could be, right? This is the goal of Uranus and Aries. Like, I never thought it was possible that I would be this person. I thought that was something only superheroes did, or I thought that was something that only happened in movies, or something other people did, right? Uranus is the cosmic mind, right? The one who forces you to open up if you don't allow the downloads in, right? It forces you open by blowing you wide open, right? Where all of your limitations, all of your defined parameters, all of the barriers of entry that you set around yourself through Saturn are made obsolete. The wall is crumbled, right? The laws are broken. And we're needing to break our own laws, the laws we set for ourselves about who we should be, and aim for who we can be, who we could be, and who we want to be. So everyone, thank you very much for watching. I know that these videos have not been very consistent, and I have been gone for a very long time, and I know all of you have been worried, but there is no need to worry. I am settling into my own transformative process in my life, which has been ongoing for a few months since I stopped making the videos, and it has given me a much needed break, right? A much needed break from, constantly producing and constantly giving of myself, to the point where I can give to myself, right? Where I can come back to myself. And this is what Jupiter and Scorpio is all about, right? Coming to the underbelly of ourselves, coming back in, tapping into our power without fear of condemnation from others, coming back to our own inner essence, right? Our inner essence, our soul essence, which is what Scorpio is requiring us all to do right now. And this break has been needed. I thank you all very much for your patience. And again, the rebranding of this channel is no longer Libra Luna Center, but oraclechamber.com, which is now available online, where you can purchase a reading from me if you are interested in booking. And as well, you can look through the various services that I provide on the website. And also, if you are looking to book a reading with me, I will not be available from this Thanksgiving, November 23rd through December 1st. So if you are looking to book one with me, it will be before or after those dates. So again, I have new links in the description below for you to be able to do all of this. And hopefully I will see you all for the full moon in Gemini, which is occurring in December. And a part of all of that too is the upload schedule will be different from now on, as I find that I'm no longer able to consistently produce enough quality content for you guys. That's what my main goal and theme here is, right? To produce the amount of value that I began with, right? And I find that the best way possible for me to do that is through condensing my information into the lunar forecasts, which, you know, are the cycles of the moon, the prominent cycles of the moon that we go through throughout the month. Throughout every month, we have the new moons and the full moons, right? And I find that this is the climaxing of the energy that we're all experiencing. And doing weekly forecasts just seems to be almost like a scattering of my energy, because it can be condensed into a short summary of what's happening with the climaxing of the lunar cycles. So this will be my new upload schedule. I'm still finding that there is some resistance to me fully returning, because I'm still trying to settle into who I'm becoming, right? Into the new role that life is basically asking me to step into. And there are a lot of changes that need to be made in my own life, in my personal life, before I can fully be present here. But I am making an effort to continue to provide these videos for you guys, because I know we're all experiencing this energy together, and it needs to be shared, right? We all need to shed our skins. And the point right now is for us to be as uncomfortable as possible, right? So again, everyone, thank you very much for watching. I will see you with the full moon forecast in Gemini next month. And I hope you all have a wonderful new moon in Scorpio.